Hello and welcome to JSRPG, The Making Of. I'm David Fioravani, the creator of the game, and I'll be doing a small video series to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how it was created. This video will go over the process I used to design the graphics, and also how I've turned them into text art. We'll be using Adobe Illustrator today to block in our main design. For this demonstration, I'll be creating a slime from scratch. The slime is probably the most overused and cliched enemy in RPG gaming, but it will make for a decent example. The first step is to create the body. We'll start by selecting the ellipse tool and creating a perfect circle. Then, using the pen tool, we'll click on the bottommost point, transforming our circle into a dome shape. Play around with the height and width of the dome to create a gumdrop-looking figure. This will make up the body of our character. To keep everything organized, we'll name the layers by the shape that we're working on. Let's select the shape and then pick a fill color. We'll go with a faded green color. For step 2, we'll be adding some blocky highlights and shadows to give our slime a hint of depth. Using the curvature tool, we'll create a small highlight at the top of our character. Using a whitish green fill, we create this soft shape following the curvature of the figure. Now to add some contrast. Selecting a slightly darker green, we'll create a shadow at the bottom of our figure using the curvature tool. This will help to imply the cylindrical bottom of the character. This green looked a little too dark, so instead we'll use a more washed out color. Now we create a shadow along the right side, further selling the illusion of depth. You ideally want a little bit of the base green to show between the shadow and the black edge. The shadow will start thin from the top and get wider as it approaches the bottom. Here I'll add a few more specks of highlight on the left side to add breakup to the blockiness of the shape. Remember, when we go to turn this image into text, blocky is better. Small details are likely to be lost in the process and won't be as visible in ASCII characters. Our goal is to imply a lot of texture through contrast as opposed to explicitly drawing it out. Now we'll go ahead and create a thin outline in dark green along the base of the slime. Let's move on to the third step, the eye. Here we create a circle in the top center. This is going to be pure white. The closer a color gets to pure white, the more transparent it will be in the text render. Once we have that set, we'll add another circle in the center. We'll make this very dark gray. We then add a third circle for the pupil and fill it in with a lighter gray. The fourth circle is optional, just a way to add a bit of implied light. Next, we're going to draw some opaque blood vessels to add some visual interest to the eye. Now it's time to move on to the eyelids. We'll start with the upper one. Using our darkest green, we create another dome shape for the top eyelid. Here, I'm stretching it vertically and adding some points onto the top. We create another circle for the bottom eyelid and put it just below the white layer. The outline of the slime could be a little thicker, so I'll go back and widen the edge a bit. We'll finish up the slime by increasing the size of all of our layers and exporting the images. When exporting as PNG, make sure to select a white background and not transparent. Transparent pixels will show up as black in our conversion process. For this example, we'll also have an animation frame with the eye closed. This will create the effect of the character blinking. This is what our final result will look like. Pretty basic right now, but it will look more polished when we add shading in Photoshop later on. From here you could add features and details to the slime, but we're going to move on to the next step. For this example, I'm going to be converting our image into text with textimage.com. Let's take a look at what our character looks like so far. Since our original image was 500 by 500, we'll choose that for our image width. The wider the image, the more detail you can get out of it. The algorithm takes the dark colors in our image and recreates them as thick characters like backslashes. The lighter colors translate into thin characters like commas, and pure white colors as spaces. Pretty cool, right? But we can do better than that. In Photoshop, I've separated our basic shapes into layers so we can color them individually without affecting the entire image. Here I start with the top half that will kind of comprise the back and inside of our slime. Here we'll add a frosted glass kind of effect on the front side, almost emulating what a snow globe would look like. We'll add some subtle shadows around the top and around the eye. Once we're happy with our character, we can go back individually to our layers and assign different blending options for a more cohesive look. When finished, we go back and take all of our layers and we invert them. When we go to re-render our image as text, this is going to help preserve a lot of the detail we just added. As you can see, this gives almost the opposite effect that we were going for last time. We'll take both of our frames newly rendered and throw them into our HTML document. Surrounding them in pre-tags will ensure that the formatting of our text stays the same. With CSS keyframe animations, we can make our character look stylized and animated using only 2 frames. These are a few relatively simple effects that you can achieve using basic CSS transforms. Thank you for watching part 1 of JSRPG The Making Of. Click here to watch part 2, where I'll go over the code that brings all the art to life. If you'd like to see more of my work, I'll leave links to my GitHub and my LinkedIn profile in the description.